Hi everybody, I'm Blue, and today I wanted to try to design some characters from scratch without a lot of thought or anything behind them. There's no overarching story or any goal or purpose already in mind for them. I just want to draw some characters based purely around tropes and things that I enjoy, but I haven't necessarily used in a lot of character designs. So I guess the best place to start with this is a list. So I'm gonna start just by writing down design tropes that I like. I decided to do a list of 12 and I was gonna split them between 2 characters, each of them having 6 apiece. Okay, so we've got elemental flavor. I grew up an Avatar kid. All of the elements have stuck with me my entire life as a fun design element. High collar, coat, cape. I love me a good long jacket that just kind of sways in the wind. Glowing anything. We've talked about my love of glowing effects. Fangs, big jingle bells, cool eyes, because who doesn't love cool eyes? Big claws, two-toned hair color, which I was very surprised that I don't do that often, probably for simplicity's sake. Fantasy armor, long braids, which I also haven't done much, and big eyebrows. For now, I'm gonna pass this list on to one of my friends, and they're going to spit it back to me, splitting them between male and female, although very quickly we're gonna abandon that sort of distinction. Alright, so this is the way that my friend decided to divide them up. And right away, I came up with 2 distinctions. The guy seems like he has to be cursed, and the girl has so many of the cool big weapons and armors and stuff, she's gotta be able to kick butt. So those are our guiding philosophies at the very beginning of this. Will they hold up? Who knows? That's what we're gonna find out as we work on this, but it's good to have just a raw, fundamental idea, even if it is a bit of a mess. So then, what I like to do next is think of a couple of characters or source materials that I could pull from. And here we'll see I started with Dude Who Must Be Cursed, and chose a couple characters for him. I've got Alan Walker, Jack Fazolius, and Staraptor, weirdly enough, from Pokemon. Don't know why, it just kept coming to mind. And then little kid Tamaki just felt like he kind of belonged there. Something sad, wet, noodle-ish, you know? Okay, as for her, let's start with just some kick-butt women from media that I like. We've got Titania from Fire Emblem, Vi from Arcane feels like a no-brainer, Tinkaton, I don't know why I keep coming up with these weird Pokemon references, but here we go. And then also from Arcane we have Gert. I just really like her eye shape and wanted to use it. From here I decided to focus on the claw feature that the guy character had because it felt like that would have to compel the rest of the design. So I started with Alan Walker's literal ones from the show and then just kind of spiraled and played around with some other ideas that I'd seen elsewhere. Nothing was really vibing with me, so I decided to go ahead and cut to just drawing him and we'll figure it out later. But of course it couldn't be that simple because almost right away, let's figure out the hair, I guess, since the claw didn't work. And I knew I wanted something big and fluffy because I don't normally do that sort of design because it's hard to draw over and over again. But boy, do I suck at it. Look at how flat this first round turned out. Even adding just spontaneous anime spikes didn't really do anything for it. So we're gonna go again, and we're just gonna make the hair messier instead of necessarily fluffier, trying thinking of it in a different way to see if that helped anything. And it did, because I do like this round a lot better than the first one. And like I have written at the top there, braid, duh, I knew the character was getting a braid, so I didn't bother drawing it. And I knew I wasn't going to sit there and research how to draw various types of braids. I was just gonna go with the one that is my go-to, that I do the most often. There was already gonna be enough challenge in these designs. I didn't need more. I wanted to get off some sort of the vibe of the character, even in this rough sketch where I'm just trying to figure out the design. I didn't want him to stand too comfortably or too gallantly. Just something that indicated a little bit less confident than most of the characters that I draw. And I don't think I really caught that here, but I still needed something that was easy to draw multiple designs on, so this is what we went with. And originally I had the hair split between my 2 favorites. Eventually you'll see that we're gonna collapse them and merge them together. But for now, starting with the same old hair and eyes down the board, all of them are the same. Except I did want to try to put some emphasis on bags under the eyes and the eye shape. I don't normally explore that a lot, and here I really wanted to. So now that we've got that chosen, here's our sad boy. Let's see what we can add to this design and what we can do. I started off with just kind of fusing the designs that I had inspirations from. You'll see a lot of Jack Vizalius's coat in this particular one. But it felt too princely for him. So, of course, design number 2, having played monks for years and years and years now, I go to sashes, I go to heavy sleeves, I go to swinging and swaying designs, and I do think it looks good, especially for a wanderer, but doesn't quite catch the vibe I want. So here we are, take 3. And I'm struggling with the vest, I'm struggling with what I exactly want this to be because I'm not really satisfied with the other designs, but as I start layering this one more and more, I do end up deciding this is the one I like best. So here we're gonna take these designs and, like I said earlier, we're gonna combine the hair together and we're gonna draw the outfit in a little bit more detail so it's easier for me to read later. And it's about this point in the process where I started to realize something was happening. I started asking questions. Why do they wear jingle bells? Why did I think that they needed a wanderer's outfit? Why do I keep calling them a sad boy when I don't have that in one of my descriptors? And so eventually things start happening. One thought after another, they all lead together, and slowly these questions about appearance begin to turn into questions about story, which I will always indulge. I think that if you're asking any questions while you're drawing, you're on the right path to creating a story, to creating a character with actual intrigue and interest. It's one thing to just tag little items onto a character and say, that's that, and it's another thing to give them reason for having those items. And the more you begin to think like that, the more you're going to get answers. You're going to learn more about these characters that you're designing. And it ended up being quite the problem. You should always ask questions. You should always try to figure out more and more about your characters as you let them build and develop, but then I had to do something. I had to define what a curse was. And of course, you can always go with curses are bad things that happen to people. It's bad luck, it's bad juju. Or you can design a little spirit creature guy who is the embodiment of somebody's last wishes, lingering in the world, trying to find a host to carry on the wish that couldn't be completed. And that host is called a bearer, and they are cursed to achieve the goal. Was it a good one? Does it maybe just have a simple little qualification or quirk about it? Or does it change your entire appearance, forever altering you based off of the remnants of somebody that you never knew? And I became really obsessed with this idea. As somebody who grew up with like all the manga and all the anime that had like the monster of the week that was like some sort of germ, or even just some sort of a problem that people face in their day-to-day lives manifested as a monster, I found myself really compelled to explore this idea. And this one instance, this one decision to give curses faces was going to be the building block for the story about Ready to Unfold. However, we're gonna jump to our other character now. We're going to jump to, what was it? Girl who kicks butt? Sure, let's start with her. So you may notice with these, I didn't do a lot of experimenting with body types for either of them. And that's just because I kind of had a general idea of what I wanted to do. Tanky, strong girl, kind of a thicker build. And I also kind of like the idea of maybe she gets cursed too. And the idea of, character with oversized weapon is a lot of fun. And I love kid with giant oversized weapon. But I've learned over the years I don't really enjoy, writing kid characters. So this was just sort of an opportunity to play with that concept. Whether I use it or not, I'm not sold yet. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and design both of these outfits as if it was child versus adult. But of course, if we're gonna do an armor design, it's gonna make a lot more sense to put it on the adult first, and then see if we can modify it and make it suit the child form any better. The idea of making it big and chunky and lay a little bit weird just felt like a good challenge to me, on top of everything else I'm doing right now. But hey, something you gotta do whenever you're drawing a new character is let yourself explore. Even if you don't see yourself using it, it's worth seeing just in case. It might spark a different idea. And as we go about these, I didn't have as strong of an idea as I did with the other characters simply because armor is hard enough to draw. And where I do enjoy drawing it, it also is a little hard, a little cumbersome to add a whole lot of personality to it, aside from where they're armored the most, where they're the most protected versus where they're the least. And for me, I like to give high mobility to characters even in armor. For her particular design, I didn't have one that stood out really strong to me, so I asked some other friends which ones were their favorites, and we ended up kind of collaborating and taking some bits and pieces. Tell you what, guys, if you're struggling with your art, find some art friends who are willing to give you some feedback, because they can help you come up with some really cool stuff. And because we are still playing with the idea of maybe doing a kid version too, I went ahead and did this new design on the younger form as well. I will say one thing I like with the younger forms is I made all of their hair extra floofy, and it's just fun. I like it. But moving on from the outfit, we have another big component of her design, and that is a huge weapon! These are always so fun to see in other media, but I always talk myself out of it. I always back out of it and decide I should do something more practical because I really do care about the mobility of my characters, even though I'm not animating them. Most of the time, I'm not even drawing them over and over again. This is an example. I'm not supposed to be drawing this over and over again, so I might as well lock in because I said I would and finally design that big ol' weapon. Or 4. Or 5. Or, oh gosh, I ended up having absolutely no idea what to do with this. My first thought was a hammer halberd because cool pole arm with big stick on the end, like it's fun. But I drew it and I'm like, I don't know. So now it's time, let's do like just a big old mallet hammer like Lavi from The Gray Man or the Rumble Rouser from Breath of the Wild. Is that what it's called? And so I'm just going through all of these different designs and all of these different ideas and just flipping them in her hand, not really having any direction or idea that I want to commit to. But in the end, I narrowed it down to the ones that I liked best, and I did really like the hammer halberd. It's so big and clunky and impractical and stupid, and yet not one that I've seen super overdone like a sword or a hammer. So okay, I think we're kinda locked in on what the weapon is. So now let's go ahead and draw her in a just decent stance, something that we could use to give a general idea of the character while still allowing us to do like a full color and get a solid grasp of what this character looks like. AKA, watch me struggle with that right arm for way too long. But hey, we got there eventually and we're able to finish her off and get a solid idea of where we're at for a base. But putting these two bases together, I don't know, I'm not really in the mood to finish it. I'm all situated. Something's not right, something's not finished. So we're gonna find something else to work on and finalize before we fix their poses. Heads up, we don't actually fix their poses, I just deal with the fact I don't like it. So we're gonna do some headshots, just front view, side view, back of the head, call it a day, specifically because the guy's hair was confusing me. I wasn't for sure how to draw it from any other angle, and I was struggling with what I wanted to do specifically for the quote-unquote cool eyes. But this is also just a good exercise and admittedly something that I don't normally do when I'm designing characters, but thought it would be good and important for this particular style of video to get a good idea of these sort of steps in the process, trying to figure out exactly how that hair lays in different directions. And normally while I'm this far in the process, I have a good idea of what colors I want for a character's hair. This was an exception. I could not imagine what colors I was gonna put on, honestly, either of them. And so this is a lot of just trial and error, trying to figure out what I want before returning to the bases that I didn't like and trying to finalize the designs. But I'm gonna go ahead and let this finish the sketching. This video's been going on a lot longer than I intended it to, so I'm actually going to split it up into 2 parts. So this one was focused around the creative process of designing a character based around simple prompts, and the next one I'm going to focus more on finalizing the character, giving them a personality, and giving them a voice that makes them distinct and unique. So if any of that interests you, go ahead and like and subscribe, that way you can see the next part and learn more about these two who are slowly taking over my mind. And until they've succeeded at that, I will still see you later.